Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. This is a show where I help investors just like you to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal. We're going to talk politics today. I promise we're going to keep the gloves off, and not the politics you're thinking, not interested in the candidates or any of that, but how the government's interaction is currently impacting the foreclosure market. Should be a great show. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am Donny Coram, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, and on this show, we help investors to invest in foreclosure deals. Unlike a lot of the gurus out there who just provide education, clients of the foreclosure profit system enjoy the benefits of figuring, funding, fixing, and flipping a foreclosure deal. Now, obviously, we're barreling towards election season. You can already see it all over social media. Who's going to win, the mean orange guy or the new lady on the block just coming to the show here? And obviously a lot of discussion on that. I do not want to get into that at all today. Political discussions are not the purpose of the show at all, but it certainly is interesting to watch, is it not? Instead, I do want to talk about how the government interaction is currently impacting the foreclosure market. Now, right out of the gate, you should know that during COVID, a moratorium was placed on foreclosures. The ideal behind this moratorium was that because people were losing their employment, they couldn't go to work because businesses were shut down, the government stepped in and put a moratorium on the ability for lenders to foreclose on properties. Moratorium basically meaning you guys cannot foreclose on these homes. That was about 2020 to 21. There's a moratorium that was placed. I don't remember the exact dates, but somewhere in that year bracket, they stopped the foreclosure process from happening. Immediately following that, not immediately, about a year or so later, 2 years almost, they took that moratorium off, in about the 22 bracket where you can now foreclose on properties. But one of the hidden things about that reduction on the moratorium was they told the lenders you can in fact take the properties back, as in you can go back on title, but in the interest of not flooding the market with a bunch of foreclosure properties, you cannot foreclose on those homes. You cannot relist those properties. I'm sorry, I'm a little off today. You can't relist the properties for sale, meaning that the lenders have taken a bunch of foreclosures into inventory. They now own a ton of properties as composed to previous years, but they are not listing those properties. One of the things that I look at pretty much every single day is the HUD Home Store. Now, HUD Home Store is the location where foreclosures are listed that are government foreclosures HUD repos. I'm going to show you that site right now. Take a look at this, okay? So when you understand what's happening here, and we're going to go to HUDHomestore.com, just going to load the screen. Here's a current list of the HUD foreclosures that are on the market right now. I am looking at the entire state of Colorado, okay, which is where I'm located, so a logical place for us to look. And as it sits right now, there are 8 properties in the entire state of Colorado that are HUD foreclosures that the HUD has taken back as inventory. You can now buy these properties because they're fully listed. The prices are here. There's a whole negotiation process for bidding on a HUD, which I cover extensively in my book, The Hidden Foreclosure Deal Market, where you can actually sometimes get a pretty good deal on these properties if there's not a ton of competition. Competition ranges depending on how many investors are in the market, but right now I'd say it's about medium. We're not exactly seeing bidding wars, right? But they're not giving them away either. So it's somewhere in between. My point in sharing this with you is we're in the state of Colorado, okay? I don't know exactly how many homes there are, but quite a few homes for only 8 of them in the entire state to currently be HUD foreclosures. This is not to say that HUD doesn't own a great deal more properties, because they do. If you do a search for housing and urban development in any number of counties, you're going to find in El Paso County alone 20 to 30 properties that are currently owned by the Housing and Urban Development, aka HUD. So why are these properties owned by HUD, but not on the market. Well, it's because it's moratorium. There's a hidden agreement between the lenders and the government, which was basically you can foreclose, you can take them back as collateral, basically show them on your balance sheet, but you can properties because of the current market condition. We don't know exactly when that part of the agreement is going to shift back and they're going to start listing properties again. But if I were a betting man, I would tell you that just post-election season, they're going to open the floodgates on all these HUD foreclosures and all the other types of foreclosures that are out there, and we're going to see a lot of foreclosures hitting the market. There's already more activity than there has been in the better part of a decade. Inventory is already at highs that exceed what we've seen in the last 10, 12 years. So it stands to reason that there's a lot of people for various reasons. For economic is the obvious thing, but foreclosures plague everybody in every walk of life. Give that some thought. You've got people, who have family homes, right? Where they take the home back as collateral, or, a family member dies. They were the breadwinner. They're the one paying for that property. They pass away. There's still a mortgage on the property. The family can't cover the cost of the home and they owe too much on the property to sell it in the open market. They're a little bit stagnated. So logically, those end up in foreclosure. Unfortunately for us, death is a major part of life, right? So that's something that's always happening. You've got job loss. You've got divorce. You've got a number of things that plague people. And then you add the fact that the cost of living across the board has gone up substantially, 30 to 40% in the past couple of years. This means there's no way that there are less people, that the market is stable, and there are less people foreclosing on homes. Actually, quite the opposite. We are seeing a massive increase in foreclosure